So the next topic in our program we would like to highlight has nothing to do with food, but with feelings. To be more precisely, with empathy. And I would like to talk about this with Yossi Hasson. He is a social psychologist for social change at the Hebrew University in Jerusalem, director of research at Aalto. Hello, shalom, nice meeting you.
Shalom, nice to meet you.
Together with his colleague Elinat Amir, who is a scientist and an artist, he has conducted a most interesting life experiment to try to increase empathy between different groups. And my first question is, can you talk a little bit about empathy? How do you define empathy, actually?
Yeah, it's a good question. So empathy involves sharing and understanding the emotions and situation of others. So when a friend of mine shares a sad story, I would feel a bit of his sadness. And if this friend is angry about something, I would feel part of this anger as well. So the ability to share and understand others is fundamental and important for human interactions because it leads us to care for each other.
And how did your interest in this field and this topic emerge? What is fascinating for you about this?
Yeah, so actually what is most fascinating is the fact that although empathy is important, we find that people tend to feel more empathy toward people from their own group and less empathy toward people from other groups. And this phenomenon called intergroup empathy bias. And it becomes a barrier in promoting intergroup relation. This is true almost in any context, between ethnic groups, religious groups, national groups, and political groups. And you can find this barrier in almost any country. You can think about conservatives and liberals in Germany, Jews and Arabs in Israel, or Christian and Muslim in the United States, for example.
Mm-hmm. And Yossi, can you explain what is the topic of and the focus of your research, and what impact can it have on societies?
Yes, so my research tried to understand the mechanism, actually what drives people to feel empathy or to avoid empathy in intergroup context. And by understanding this mechanism, I try to develop psychological interventions to overcome those barriers and to promote empathy between groups. And the reason I'm doing it is because I believe that by finding a way to increase empathy between groups, we can create a better society. So by increasing empathy, we'll be able to reduce negative attitudes, discrimination and violence between groups, and also try to increase pro-social behavior and solidarity between groups.
That's interesting. Yossi, can we talk about the event you are offering at the Berlin Science Summit? The title of your session is "Believing Empathy is Unlimited." Can you give us a preview into what happened during the experiment that made you conclude this?
Yeah, of course. So in the last few years, Elinat, Amir, and I have been developing an innovative concept that combines live performance art and social psychology experiment that aim to alter, to change people's basic assumption about the limitation of empathy. So in this collaboration between art and psychology, it's been done through a framework of theater performance that attract audience of hundreds that also act as participants in empathy experiment, and they have the opportunity to interact with people from their own group and other groups. And what we find is that when people tend to believe that empathy is limited, okay, that they cannot feel empathy toward many peoples, they keep their empathy to their own group and they avoid feeling empathy toward other groups. But in our experiments and actually performance, we challenge this belief and we make them believe that empathy is unlimited. And what we find is when we change this belief, people become more empathetic toward others and even engage in more pro-social behavior toward others. And this concept has been tested and conducted in the United States, in Israel, and we hopefully try to do the same in Germany in half a year, trying to increase empathy between the general community and the Muslim community.
Well, thank you very much, Yossi Hasson, for this interview. We're looking forward to your session. It's a great way to learn more about your own empathy. Thank you so much.